everything is in its place. So when you see it on the individual level, when you study someone's home, someone's workplace, it's interesting to see how things are put into place or how they're not put into place. There's a way of recognizing that. You know that if you have a thing, you know, and you always put it in the same place, and you have a thing, you always put it in the same place. You have a thing, you always put it in the same place. And you've made decisions on where those things are supposed to be, and this is all based on order. And in fact, order is very closely connected with law because it's an idea of how to behave or interact with others that involves order. Because order is all about rules, it's all about setting up a structure that you can repeat or that you enforce the repetition of it. Now, it's not necessarily good or bad, but it's a form of habit. Humans are creatures of habit. Now, when a person fails to have any sense of order that they're going to implement, then it can be recognized in their surroundings and their possessions that there is chaos. It's just a random array or disarray, as no pun intended, but disarray, to where they don't have anything that a place can be. It can be here, 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 here. It's just wherever it drops. If they're holding it and they fall asleep and they drop on the floor, it drops out of their hand and there it stays, and they're going to get up. And you see this, and often it's called mental illness because the person hasn't figured out some of the basics of functioning with things. Now, of course, we're just talking about the material level, because they talk about external chaos, internal order, because in the mind there may be a heck of a lot of order going on. So you often see this in these like mad scientists or wild, brilliant geniuses that are not really in the world. They're like somewhere out there, and their mind is very orderly about mathematical formulas. Like, I don't know actually if Einstein was one of these examples, but you know, you've got all these thought experiments going on, and really complex, like trigonometry, algebra, calculus, all combinations and permutations, very much in order because it has to follow logic and rationality and critical thinking. It's very, very precise and orderly. But then you look at their lab or their study or their whole house, and it's like a nuclear bomb hit. There's no rhyme or reason to that. So it's just this outward chaos. So what I'm talking about now is just the physical order, which is usually a product of the internal chaos. Sometimes you find, like with the mad scientists, you'll find total like idiot savants with some subject of science, but outwardly they can't seem to find the time to do that. Now let's talk about this. Those people may have a reason to fall down into disorder because they're so busy in the higher mental realms. But most of the people, let's just say us, including myself, we might have a lot of mental things going on, yeah, but what's our excuse? What, you know, for any disorder that happens? I mean, I look and everything has to be straightened out. Everything has to be organized. Like literally, I have children. I'm actually a single father right now, and it's just crazy because they're the chaos makers, and have a little bit of that, but maybe they're encouraging my chaos because I'm just like, if you can't beat them, join them. Okay? So where is this coming from? Now, it's just really common sense to me is that part of it's procrastination, and part of it is I've recognized a rebelliousness in the brain or even deep in the soul that like here, I was just coming in the door, right? I had fed the chickens and I left the container, like the daily scoop container, next to the door, so I knew if I come back in the door, I'm going to bring it in and put it with the feed, because the feed's in a protected section on the way to the house. So I was doing a bunch of things, and then as I came in, I closed the door, and I took another step, and then I realized, oh, I didn't bring in the thing. It's still outside the door. So it was like this profound moment of, what do I do? Because it'll take me 2 seconds to open the door. And I actually didn't want to open the door because I hate to wear out the door, you know what I'm saying? I use it like thousands of times and eventually it's going to fall off the hinge, right? So that's part of my excuse. But instead of taking like 2 seconds to grab it and put it where it's supposed to be, I decided just keep on going and forget it. Like double forget it. So then, as I came to the video, I was analyzing this and seeing that it's a form of rebelliousness. It's just like, let chaos win. Chaos wins when we do not do things right away, or when we notice it and we could have made up for the mistake, we could have repaired it, we could have put things in order, and we just keep on sliding. Now, some people are not conscious of this, and sometimes I'm not, but I'm saying oftentimes I am, and then I'm able to analyze it. So this is what's going on, folks. Procrastination, rebelliousness, and just apathy. Just whatever. So people that do this all the time, you can see around them with their things, it's just chaos. Now there's another term called entropy, which is sometimes known as a measure of disorder. But entropy is actually the point of balance that an isolated system will reach, to where you can see this is the pattern of things, to where it just settles into place. So entropy is kind of related to what I'm talking about, but when it has to do with human movements and human decisions, I think that entropy still can be applied, at least symbolically. What entropy really comes from is from the science of thermodynamics, and if you know anything about it, that's how they measure the relations of heat to energy and how it is within a system. Thermodynamics is like the measure and study of these characteristics of matter. So in fact, thermodynamics and I go back a long way. When I first dropped out of high school and I was about 17 years old, I went to run away with a good friend of mine who was older and attending college, and I used to go sneaking into his thermodynamics class. It was like an intro to thermodynamics, because nobody takes thermodynamics in high school unless they're like certified genius. So it's usually anywhere from, and I'm talking about the American education system, it's usually anywhere between 18 or 19 and up when you first can get into a study of thermodynamics. So I actually took a few tests in there and just put a fake name on it, and I guess the professor graded it, but he never knew who he'd give it to. But anyhow, thanks for listening. Make your comments. I'm going to do my next video now. Share this with all your friends. Rate it up, thumbs up, favorite it, and make sure you're subscribed.